Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my garage. We're here today in memoriam of the beautiful Bowie knife that I started last episode. I think I'm about to break it. I've got to reheat treat it, which is just a huge bummer. As you guys can see here, the hardening line doesn't quite go all the way down the edge, which means that it's an unusable knife at this point. So we've got to go back in the forge, heat it back up, re-quench it, so hopefully nothing snaps, cracks, or dog legs. But before we jump in, let's thank today's sponsor.
I'm going to interrupt just to thank today's sponsor, which is Skillshare, online learning community with over 25,000 online courses and everything from business to marketing to illustration and plenty more. You can get started today because the first 1,000 of you that click my link in the description are going to be getting 2 months of Skillshare Premium for free. So please check them out. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this. Back to you, Will.
So let's jump right on in. We're going to start off by recoding this thing in Satanite. This just helps prevent it from oxidizing, and it adds a little bit of thermal mass to it, which allows it to hopefully stay a little bit straighter in heat treat. Alright, I pulled the knife out after the first round of tempering just to make sure that it was hardened all the way across. I tested it with a file, and I've got a fun knife making trivia question for you guys. So what's worse than a knife that's partially hardened? The answer is a knife that's not hardened at all, which is what we have here. File totally bites into it completely easily, which sucks. So we're going to reheat treat it. Gonna do a couple thermal cycles. We're gonna preheat our oil so it quenches a little bit faster, and hopefully get this thing hardened this time, because otherwise, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Alright, it actually hardened this time. That's fantastic. Did everything just right, and it worked out. Just tested a file along the whole edge. There's a little bit of decarb, which is where carbon bleeds out when it's over a certain temperature. But once I filed through that couple thousandths of an inch, it's nice and hard all the way along the edge. So we're good to rock and roll, ready to temper it, and then continue on with the process of finishing out this knife. Okay, the knife is out of its first round of tempering, and it's looking really good, except for it's got a very significant bend that comes off to the left here. So the way that we're gonna try to fix this bend is with a shimmed temper. And we're gonna prop up this end of the blade, which is the direction that the blade bows this way. And so we're gonna put something under this end and clamp it down and bend it back. All right, while that's in the shimmed tempering jig, we're gonna get started on the guard. And much like before, we're going to start off by cutting off a couple big pieces with the hacksaw and then tuning it in with some files. Alright, I got the knife out of the shimmed tempering jig. I've been working on that guard while it was cooling down and stuff like that, and it's still a little bit warped. It's not terrible, but I am going to put it back in the temper. That being said, I'm going to keep it out here because this part right here isn't really going to change a whole lot. So I'm going to fit up the guard and then put it back into temper tonight. And that way when I wake up in the morning, hopefully it'll be straightened out a little bit better. So for now, I'm gonna start off by drilling some holes in that guard and getting it fit up nice and tight to this after I sand off that bit there. Alright, it's been a couple days. I've done probably 6 or 7 shimmed temper cycles on this knife trying to get it straightened out, and it just isn't working. So I'm having to go to a more aggressive approach that I really didn't want to have to do. There's one spot on there where it's nice and straight and then it goes Hwah! And we want to get that huh into a not huh, you know what I'm saying? Wow. That came out a lot better. It's looking so much straighter than it was, which is awesome. The next thing they need to address now is this right here. That is a little delamination in the Damascus that popped up during heat treat. So I'm going to go ahead and use a stone to get that out, as well as using it to do the last tiny bit of correction on the straightness of the blade. Well, after about 7 hours of hand sanding right there, we got it done. It's ready for etch again. Hopefully this time the blade is fully hardened. I did check all the way down the blade, so if it's not, then I'm just gonna throw this thing away. We're gonna go back into the etch. It's got a fairly rough 600 grit finish right now, all the way up down the blade, the spine, the clip, and the inside of the ricasso. So it's ready to go into the etch. And then after that, I'll take it out, scrub it down with some 1500 grit, and then I'll do a cold instant coffee etch. So I'll make the instant coffee, let it cool down, and then let this blade sit overnight inside that instant coffee. But for now, let's go into the etch. So the blade looked pretty good. It wasn't perfect though. I'll probably end up re-coffee etching it before I do the final glue up. The next step now is going to be doing the final fit up on the guard. It's got a weird cant to it right now, where the guard is kind of twisted this way on the blade, and I don't know why. But we're gonna figure it out and we're gonna get the perfect fit up on this, hopefully in a jiffy, so let's get to it. So this is embarrassing. I forgot to hit record and I fit up the guard and it looks really nice. I didn't ever figure out what was causing that alignment issue. I basically just ended up filing off of one side up here, filing off of the other side down at the bottom to make those parallel, and then doing the sides as well to get those lined up. And now it looks good. I had plenty of material to work with, which is awesome. And I'm gonna flip it upside down now and do the rough shaping of this part of the fit up. Okay, so I've got my handle profile traced out now with the tang slot traced in pencil, and I took this drill bit. It's just slightly smaller than the diameter of the tang. And I put 2 center punch marks here in the top, and I'll drill down on those and then use the Black Dragon Forge handle broach to broach out the rest of the tang and get that fit up. So now that I've got the general footprint of the guard carved in, I've got those facets tuned up, it's time to do the final fit up of the guard to the handle. Now I'm going to be using a candle to do this in kind of a funky fashion. What it is essentially is you're using the soot from the end of the candle flame, you hold the guard up above that, and it'll cover the guard in a thin layer of that, you know, super thin, fine soot.
And it's the guard to protect.
Alright, we've got the fit up pretty dang nice now. What I'm going to do now is start thinning down the handle, get it into its basic profile, not this huge, thick, lumpy block thing. Just get everything kind of a lot closer. We're going to run out to the bench vise now and use a flap disc on an angle grinder to rip off a lot of this thick material that doesn't need to be there. Alright, the glue is dried now. Means I can take this off. Oh my goodness, I almost died. There we go, it's on there. Feels like a real knife now. There's no jiggling. Okay, the handle's looking really nice. I've got it sanded to 400 grit. The facets, these ridge lines are looking nice. The guard to handle fit up is looking pretty good. A little bit of lumpiness there. That's nothing we can't fix though. I'm now going to pop off this handle, so I'm going to lock the blade in the vise. I'm going to heat up a piece of metal with a torch and press it onto the guard. I'm not going to hit anything on here directly with the torch because it's going to damage the wood and I don't want that. I actually might be able to get the very end of the guard with the torch without damaging too much else. I'll give it a shot, and if it's not working, then I'll switch to using a piece of metal. Alright. Whew. There we go. Okay, so the handle goes back on. Nice and easy, goes back right onto the same spot, which is exactly what we wanted. But I figure that the guard and handle are looking just a little bit plain right now. And I want to spice it up a little bit, and I think the way that I'm going to do that is by carving a groove where I've drawn these pencil lines. Space it out, make it a little bit fancier, a little bit nicer. Should make the handle pop just a little bit more. Now that we've got the guard finished up, I'm going to go ahead and blacken it. And so I'm going to fill the bottom of this full of that super blue. That should get it a lot blacker than just wiping it on did. Okay, this looks amazing. It's very antiqued. I think it looks absolutely fabulous. I'm super happy with that outcome. Time to go ahead and sand up the handle to about 1500 grit and then wax and polish it.
Once again, Will has completely knocked it out of the park with this incredible blade, so well done to Will. Thank you for your hard work on that at home, a great testament to what can be done with very basic tools. I'd like to thank today's sponsor, which is Skillshare, online video learning community with over 25,000 online courses, which means that right now, if you're cooped up at home with a little extra time on your hand and you want to increase your value as an employee or take your business to soaring new heights by learning something new, it's the perfect time to do it. You can pick up a new skill, learn how to better market yourself, learn how to better manage your time, or perhaps you want to invest in yourself and your own self-growth and do something a little more meditative, like working on your drawing skills. You can do that using Procreate, which is the app on iPad we used to design the shark that went on the Chambersburg recently, and you can learn how to use Procreate in Skillshare. So please check them out. There's so much that you can learn with Skillshare, and now is the perfect time to do it. You can go to our link in the description where you're going to be getting 2 months of Skillshare Premium for free. It's usually just $10 a month, but you got to act fast because it's only the first 1,000 of you that hit that are going to be getting those 2 months for free. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this. I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.